The Wabash station has recently undergone a major makeover. The original building, which was built in 1910, has been restored, and a much-needed annex was added to the east side of the structure, along with a covered platform. The Standing Committee on Public Art, through the Percent for Art program, commissioned 2 regional artists to create works that will become a permanent part of this historic landmark. To better understand the creative process involved in this project, let's take a closer look at the artists themselves and the concepts used to produce these incredible works of art. Don Asbee, age 55, began his metalwork career in the garage of his parents' St. Charles home over 30 years ago, and has gone from the blacksmithing of strictly functional forms to sculptural and architectural applications. He studied under 2 masters, Rodney Winfield at Maryville University in St. Louis, and the late Francis Whitaker, a nationally renowned blacksmith and recipient of many prestigious awards. Asbee's metalwork may be seen statewide and beyond in the homes and on the grounds of many private clients, corporations, and businesses, including the Unity Center of Columbia, St. Louis Zoo, Stonehill Wineries in Herman, Trinity Episcopal Church in St. Charles, the Casualty Indemnity Insurance Company in Jefferson City, and the Kellogg Company in Battle Creek, Michigan. The piece that Don crafted for installation at Wabash Station required hours of research during the design phase, so an accurate historical perspective would be reflected in the finished work.
I wanted something that would tie into the past, and I learned how the track, the original railroad track, related to the positioning of the building, and thought that if there would be some way to define the position of the railroad engine as someone might look out the window and see the presence of the train engine in that position. The people that will see it from this perspective are from behind the building, and since it is viewed from both sides, the back window of the station is actually there behind it. That has been a tremendous challenge for me to have it meaningful from one side to the next, and that was why I had to come up with a palindromic number for the locomotive. I suppose it would have been easy to just not even have a number there, but that generally was a pretty significant part of the, the essence of the train engine, what number it was. And so 808 was going to be meaningful from the back or the front. And what I had to do then was to research 808 to find out if it indeed was a train or an engine running on that line that Wabash had. And fortunately, it was. And so once I had the information that 808 did exist, I had to find out what kind of an engine it was. That determined, for example, the height of the smokestack and the relative shape of the smokestack. As locomotives evolved, the smokestack got smaller. And so this, having been built, I believe, around mid-1890s, that was the height of the smokestack. The thing that I feel was of interest to a lot of people on this was the fact that I used forging techniques that were employed in the construction of the locomotives. And that was one of the things. You could have cast this shape in resin, it could have been cast in aluminum or bronze, but what I wanted to do was get a sense of the way the forge work was employed in building the old locomotives because they were using the big power hammers to hammer out the various pitman arms and bracketing and doing, everything related to putting those things together was primarily done through the skills of blacksmithing.
The sculpture was installed in late August on the wall between the original Wabash station and the bus pavilion to the east. David Speer is applying the finished brush strokes on his Wabash panels while the interior of the old station nears completion. He works with a very different medium, a medium that some say is obsolete.
When I was going to school, people said, painting's dead. Painting doesn't, that was one of the things that, speakers would come and talk about how painting is dead, how painting has no impact anymore. And I think that to a slight little degree, I'm trying to prove them wrong. And I'm hoping that with projects like this, they could have, an impact on a community. And I think that, paintings do define communities. You're depicting the time, and I think when people look back on this, they'll see it as a very regional thing that they could be proud of.
At age 32, David Speer has already done a lifetime of work. He grew up in St. Louis, attended the University of Missouri-Columbia for a few years, and then returned to his hometown to finish at the University of Missouri-St. Louis. His first commissioned work was done for Cicero's in St. Louis before he was even out of school. The 4x8 foot paintings are still hanging on the walls of this well-known restaurant. Some other notable work by Speer is the Addison series, located at Addison's Restaurant, and the Greek mythology series at Sophia's. Both restaurants are located here in Columbia. David has had numerous art exhibits and many public commissions, but the Wabash project is a milestone in his career, by his own definition.
When I first found out, I was very happy to get the commission. I think it's a big boost for my career to do, I think, public work. And as an artist, and the type of artist that I am, these are the jobs you work for. These are the jobs that you work up to, and once you've landed one, it's a big deal for me. I learned a lot, actually, doing research from this project. I learned about the Boone Lick Trail, the train station, and how the train came from Centralia, but it only came one way. There wasn't actually a train that passed through Columbia, and that's why, for instance, on this piece, the train stops right there, because it would back up all the way to Centralia. So it would go forward and then back up. I had some pictures planned for above the doorways that Marie Hunter and I had discussed, and she really liked that idea. It was going to be on the east side would be the sunrise. So it would be the sunrise over the east doorway and a sunset over the west doorway. But I didn't realize that the partitions that kind of separate, that cut the Wabash station in half, that are there right now, that they're going to take that out. And then there was 3 ticket windows and a doorway, and they have a big wall that's about 22 feet by about 5 feet. And so I decided to take that wall instead. And I've kind of kept with the same theme about sunrise and sunset. So these paintings, the sun is rising when it's a train station, and the sun is setting when it's the bus station. So it's all about, and they wanted to put a clock on that wall too. So I was trying to figure out a way to include the clock in the composition. And so I decided to just put it in the middle. And so the sun rising and the sun setting, and it being a train station and turning it into a bus station, it's all about evolution and how things evolve over time. I think that one of the reasons I was chosen was because my style in this kind of depicts the Midwest regionalists, the Grant Woods, the Thomas Hart Bentons, and I think that that's a style that Missouri really relates with, because those are guys from our towns, and those guys are from our area. And I think that I've had so many comparisons with Benton over the years, which is very flattering, but at the same time it could be a little bit frustrating. But until recently, until actually I was working on this project, that I realized that it's not really, tradition isn't about honoring the ashes, but it's about carrying on the fire. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do with these paintings and the other paintings that I do in this style. They've hired mostly sculptures people to do all these percent for art projects. I'm the first two-dimensional artist to be picked, so this is the first time paintings are going to be shown as a percent for art project. So there was a little bit of pride in that too. It's like, we could do something too. You know, we could make an impact as well.
Columbia is very fortunate to have a percent for art program. We are the only city outside of a metropolitan area in the state that has such a program. So I think that says a great deal about Columbia and the City Council and the people of Columbia, that how much they appreciate art. In my opinion, the installation of artwork in public places is a very important aspect to the culture in Columbia. I think it benefits all of the citizens to expose them to artwork. It's just my personal feeling, but I feel that if people were more creative, spent more time being creative, then there would be a lot more peace in this world. And that's one of the nice things about the Wabash Station, is that people of all ages will be exposed to the artwork. It's very nice, I feel, that both David and Don have incorporated history into their artwork, keeping with the historic nature of the building itself.
The dedication ceremony for Wabash Station is slated for early fall. For more information, call the City Manager's office at 874-8338 or log on to the city website at www.gocolumbiamo.com.